This is our Center for Spiritual Living, Tahoe-Truckee's online live streaming service. It is Sunday, September 13th, 2020. It's my joy to welcome you here for the Center for Spiritual Living, Tahoe-Truckee. I'm Reverend Pam Brandman, the Senior Minister of our center. Our center's purpose is love, and our vision is embracing all while awakening to the one. Wherever you are and whoever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. That we know that there are many paths to God, but they all end in oneness and in love. We are grateful that each of you is with us this morning. So we begin our service with our receptivity statement. On our slide, here we go. If you can read along with me. I am here by divine appointment. Something I am about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. So our music this morning is by Rod Loomis. And I always appreciate working with Rod because he likes to select songs that perfectly match the Sunday talk title. And sometimes they're fairly new, sometimes they're nostalgic songs, but whatever they are, they perfectly match the service, as they do this morning. And so, welcome, Rod.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Good morning, everyone. This song is called Sanctuary, and it's based on Ephesians 2:19 through 22. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare us to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
So in that sanctuary that we find in our hearts in meditation, where God is always there, it leads us into our invocation this morning, which is led by Reverend Rick Carney. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's take a moment and go into prayer. I know that we are all together in this sanctuary, all together in the one. In this place and time, we are come together to not just hear a lesson, but also to give praise unto the Creator who is in us and around us and always there for us. And so I know that this time is time very well spent, that this coming together is a blessing unto the world. And so I know that what we have to share is blessed by God itself, and that all good things will come forth from this experience, not just for me, but for all of those here present. And all is good. And all is God. And what a true blessing that is. And so in gratitude, I release my words, knowing everything we could possibly want is already being delivered to us. Let go, allowing Spirit to bring forth even more. As together we say, and so it is. I have a spiritual reading that relates to today's talk by Reverend Pam, and it's regarding fear and how fear can sometimes cripple us and sometimes keep us from connection with the One. This comes from The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, page 404 and 405, for those who want to reflect back on this later. And it starts, fear is the great enemy of man, but fear is a mental attitude and as such can be converted into something else. Fear is the reverse mental attitude to faith and is a result of a lack of faith. Fear brings limitation and lack in its wake and destroys the happiness and possibility of a greater livingness to those who suffer from it. Fear blocks the more complete giving of spirit to its highest form of manifestation on this planet, which is humankind. Fear arises from that mental attitude which limits the possibility and the willingness of spirit to give us the good we so greatly desire. There's nothing wrong in the good we so greatly desire. There's nothing wrong in the desire for self-expression. God is more completely expressed through the person who lives largely than through the one who lives meagerly. Fear is a belief in limitation, a denial that the divine is the center and the source of all good. We must do all in our power to overcome it. To overcome fear is the greatest adventure of the mind of mankind. To do this, we should contact a larger field of faith. This is done by understanding that God is the giver and sustainer of human life and expression. God is all there is. It is substance and supply. If it is God's pleasure to give us the kingdom, then it should be our privilege to accept the gift. The Spirit has not withheld good from us, but our ignorance of the law has caused us to have fear. We should endeavor to stop limiting God. All things are given unto us, but we have to do the taking. The gift of heaven is forever made. The receiving of this gift is an eternal process of forever expanding the finite. Love alone can overcome fear because love surrenders itself to the object of its adoration. The soul must make a complete surrender of itself to the Spirit. The will of the Spirit is peace, clear thinking, and happiness. It could have no other. Great piece from The Science of Mind. And so with that, I would love if Rod could please share a little more of his skills with us. Thank you.
This is a Michael Gott song, the wonderful Michael Gott. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together, together in one song. Come together from different worlds, we are drawn together in our own way. We can pray together. Together we are strong. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, dreams and hands. We will join together to build a place. We can grow together. Together we are whole. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together, young and old, we will sing together, together in one song, together in one song, together in one song.
Thank you, Rod.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
So today we're continuing our September series on facing the fear, and that wonderful reading that Rick shared with us of how fear can really block everything in our lives, all the great good that God has given and is sharing, offering to us. Our own fear can be what keeps us from experiencing and accepting that good. And today our topic is skepticism, doubt, and faith. So it's about a healthy dose of questioning without skepticism. It's a great tool for developing an understanding of what we believe and know. When we think that we know it all, which can happen quite often, or we're not willing to question what we believe because we've believed it for our whole life and it must be true, or we're not willing to ask what it means when someone feels their prayers have not been answered, that God's not answering them. Well, we are no longer in alignment with being open at the top. It is very important to Ernest Holmes. So what today in the world, when we look at what do we see? Do we have the courage to see life as it really appears to be right now? We can be in our little cocoon, but if we look out and we see what's really happening, today's world seems just plagued with multiple and simultaneous crises. Almost 200,000 lives have been lost in the US alone, and 1 million worldwide during the COVID-19 pandemic now. People are struggling to get health care, stay in their homes, feed their families without financial relief. The wildfires are just amazing, going out through all throughout the West. If you look at the map of the fires, due to climate change's increasing activities, and my heart just is so taken aback by the stories of people that have lost their lives trying to escape the fires. Racism has been moving out of hiding where it was, I guess, when we thought we had outgrown racism. And now people are demonstrating to support Black Lives Matters, but they also come out to support white nationalism. Gun violence breaks out as some politicians stoke fear, and the demonstrators come to otherwise peaceful demonstrations with their long guns, you know. And there's also the very real foreign interference and voter suppression that are threatening the 2020 election. I mean, it's very easy to get depressed and despondent about it all. But how do we heal? That's why we're in spiritual community. We want to shift ourselves and our collective experience in the world. How do we find our way out of this depressing maze of anger and strife? Do we believe what we hear on the news, from the politicians, from the scientists? What's the truth? Where is it coming from? Even our own personal beliefs are challenged by the reality before our lives. Going through the class on white supremacy just really opened my eyes to some things that I was doing that I thought I was doing a pretty good job of being a white ally, but I still had a lot of more things that I could do. So when we come back to this fear, really, that all of this engenders, this is a false state of separation. It's so easy to feel that our world is falling apart and woe is me, and have the drama and the conversation, and kind of gives you the stimulation of feeling alive but when we find ourselves in fear rather than faith in God, we are in a state of separation. And that's not possible. That's not real. Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, he says, if we think of ourselves as being separated from the universe, we shall be limited by this thought, for it is a belief in separation from God, which binds and limits. We are bound by nothing except belief, right? Separation is not real, but our belief in that makes it seem as if it is real, right? In consciousness, our goal is to not see ourselves separated from God and subject to the world out there, not to see people as the other that may or may not be against us or for us. And when we're separated, we even see God as being out there and maybe not even caring for us. We feel like this small person that's been forgotten, maybe. It really blocks our awareness and experience of oneness. We forget that we are always connected into one. The reality is we are inseparable. Separation can only exist as a false belief in our minds. And so in Science of Mind, we are taught to look through that apparent chaos, whatever it is, to that changeless, infinite life underneath it all, to see that spiritual truth underneath it all. And when we observe, analyze, and take action at this physical level, where all of this stuff is happening, the natural consequences of our beliefs and actions are manifest. There's a cause, our beliefs and our actions, and there's an effect. So when we don't care for our planet, climate change takes hold. When we don't value and care for our fellow human beings, all the collective progress from the past cooperative efforts seems to just dissolve. Lives are lost. Consequences are real. Fearfully, we can begin to doubt our leaders, doubt ourselves, and even doubt God. That's where that skepticism and doubt come in. We begin by asking ourselves, what is true? What is true? To heal our world, to heal our individual and collective lives, we are called by Spirit to healthy skepticism, to question our own beliefs and actions, and to look to the spiritual truth. If we keep on doing what we've been doing, we're going to get the same results. So what is it that we can change? and our own beliefs and actions that will help shift that collective consciousness. Now, and one of the things that happens in science of mind is that we try to deny what we're seeing. Okay, if I deny that this is the truth, then the opposite will magically occur. And so there's a story about a CSL minister ends up in hell. Must have been something crazy, but they end up in hell, and they're walking around and trying to get acclimated, and they see this other minister sitting there meditating in hell. And so they walk closer, and the meditating minister is saying, "I'm not really here. I'm not really here. I am not really here." Right? So it's not about denying it. I mean, that the facts are the facts, right? But the facts are a manifestation of our mental and spiritual beliefs, our consciousness. And so that's where we want to work. In Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll's story that he wrote in a series of books, actually, he wrote in 1871, there's a story about the White Queen. And she says, "I just 101, 5 months and a day." "I can't believe that," said Alice. "Can't you?" the Queen said in a pitying tone. "Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes." Alice laughed. "There's no use trying," she said. "One can't believe impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. "When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." So when I first heard that as a child, I thought, that's just craziness. You can't believe impossible things. This is the crazy Queen. But what Lewis Carroll was really trying to say is, what about possibility thinking? Right? Successful entrepreneurs see possibilities that others didn't think were possible. And then they bring those possibilities into manifestation. We go beyond what we've always known, the way things have always been, to those new infinite possibilities that are always there. You know, this allows us to be open at the top. Healing requires us to be open to the top, to a solution from a power greater than we are. You know, there is that incessant voice within us that is insisting that we find a better voice, better way. It is that spirit calling us to listen, to see the unchanging spiritual truth of love and peace. And that voice never gives up. Ernest Holmes always said that science of mind is open at the top. He had no desire for his teachings to be fixed. He even thought his book might be on a dusty shelf somewhere some years after he passed away. Instead, Holmes wanted us to always be open to greater life possibilities as spirit continues to express itself through us in greater and greater measure. In seminar lectures, he says, chains of causation can be set in motion, individually or collectively, which produce their inevitable results unless they are changed. They can be changed. We have two possibilities. We can be so narrow that we never grow, or we can be so broad we have no depth. It is up to us to find the place in between, which gives freedom without giving the freedom to destroy the freedom, which makes the freedom possible. We have to keep our minds open at the top for a new influx of wisdom. And we have to set up a sign which says, stop, look, and listen. Does this that I believe measure up to truth? But there are certain inevitabilities that the ages have declared to be true. So the shift that allows us to be open to at the top is an inner shift at the level of consciousness. Hermes Trismegistus is known as the thrice greatest Hermes. This was the name given to him by the Greeks for their Egyptian god Thoth, the god of wisdom, learning, and literature. And so the Greeks adopted that wisdom and grouped it under Hermes, which is probably a group of individuals. And he was credited with writing the 42 Greek sacred books that were based on this accumulated Greek wisdom, which back to about 300 BC. And so Hermes said, as above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. So it is in this connection with spirit, this connection of our consciousness within, that shift occurs. And as we are aware of that consciousness of the truth of who we are, that is what will be manifesting in our lives. In Science of Mind, we say, change your thinking, change your life. So what are we doing that contributes to this dire situation? Now, when we remember that spiritual truth is the reality, we will take action that shifts the world from chaos to harmony, from separation to unity, and from hatred to wholeness and love. We are called to turn from fear to faith. We stand for truth and love right here and right now. That is who we are. You see, when we stay in that world of outer change, we're just moving the pieces around. But when we go to inner change, so that inner consciousness shift, we're changing the pieces themselves, right? That inner change focuses on oneness and healing any sense of separation. Greg Braden is one of the authors in this great book called Our Moment of Choice that I just got this book and I'm really excited about it. And Our Moment of Choice. Our choices will determine the future of the world. And there's about 30 or 40 authors that are just some of the biggest names in the whole New Thought and human development movement from all different fields. And they're coming together to say our moment of choice is now. Now is the time to change the future. Our choices will determine the future of the world. Now, Greg Braden says that there are 3 key false assumptions that we need to change. So the first is that, from Darwin, we've believed that survival is based on survival of the strongest, survival of the fittest. But instead, nature depends upon cooperation for survival, not competition. And that there's a lot of scientific evidence about that. The second false assumption is that genetic evolution determines the random mutations determine the whole evolution record. But that's not true. When you look at the actual record, there are these disconnects along the way. Things happen, they speed up over a period of time that can't be explained by the pace of random mutations. So there is something intelligent that is actively involving with involution and putting that spiritual direction into evolution. And then the final false assumption is that we are separate. We're separate from each other, we're separate from the energy, we're separate from the planet, from God. When in fact, we are all energetic beings, existing in one unified field with all people, with the whole universe. All is really energy, E equals mc squared. And so we are energy that's currently in the form of matter. But we, particularly when we die, we go back to energy beings. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. So we are we are spiritual beings, people of energy. So when we go to shift our inner consciousness, then, that is where the work is to be done. And so the meditation then is Rick in that read talked about love is what heals fear. When we surrender to love, that is how that fear is dissolved, how we move forward, and how we open ourselves up to the greater possibilities. And so we want to meditate on love and light. Now, another author in this book is Locke Kelly, who's a Master of Divinity and a LCSW. His article is about deliberate mindfulness. So there's 3 types of meditation, he says. Now, the first one is called shamatha, focused attention. This is when you'll be focusing on your breath, calm abiding, the breath in and out. And so you focus your mind into that one thing. It's very relaxing, very peaceful and calming. But it has its limits. Shokni Rinpoche said he calls it stupid meditation. Why? Because it just closes you out and focuses your mind, and so you're just there, existing. But you're not aware of the greatness of the universe, of God. Now, Vipassana is Buddhist meditation, and this is the insight meditation. And so there's this open monitoring, and it goes into the intellect. And in fact, their methods allow you to go within and go into the whole history of this thought came from that thought, came from that thought, came, and it takes it all the way back to the Big Bang when you're really working with it. This is the Zen Buddhist meditation. And so you're connecting yourself into the past of how things came to be the way they are. And so it informs us of why things are. And so we going into the future. But it's getting the insights from the way things have been. How do we get where we are? And so there is this, Kelly's suggesting that we want to focus on a third type of meditation, which is called non-dual awareness in the jargon, but it is effortless mindfulness, wholeness. Now, it doesn't involve an intentional effort. We're not closing our mind and really structuring where our thoughts go, but it's unconstructed awareness. Deepak Chopra calls it settling into the silence that is already there. And we're moving into the flow of just being in the now, as Tolle talks about. So, and in this sense of being in the now, in that flow, our extrinsic and intrinsic experiences are synergistic. It feeds back and forth, one to the other. There is no stopping. There is no judging. There is just this flow. And so that the inspired thought comes up from spirit and it goes into manifestation. You see the cause and the effect back and forth. So they're not competing with each other. We're not fighting the physical world. We're not fighting to stay in the consciousness world. We're allowing them to interconnect and see that connection. They're not competing, but they are working synergistically together. And really, this is surrendering of our ego. Surrendering that ego, the things it needs to accomplish and do things. And so there is a new identity of oneness, of our high self, of wholeness, of being part of the one that is expressing itself in the world and having resources that go beyond just ourselves. All of this is available. So when these goals come to us that this needs to be done, we need to shift the world consciousness. We need to heal the world. We need to have love manifesting everywhere. That great goal, we are a part of the one that is manifesting it. It's not just us. It's not our will alone. It's not us alone. We are of it all happening together. It's like when everyone is rowing the boat together in the same direction. We are all moving as one, right? And so it is this state of being versus doing, right? We are being wholeness, being love, being oneness, right? Now, when we shift into that state of non-dual awareness, it's like we move to that crossroads, to that point where the thought becomes the form. Right? We've moved from the head to the heart. And in once we're accessing that divine wisdom, it is that point of creative choice. Right? So we are making choices not from our ego, but choices from that divine consciousness of oneness, of infinite wisdom. It's like being the difference between being your computer by itself offline and being a computer connected to the internet, part of all that wisdom that's everywhere around the world on all the different computers. And so it is that interaction of the inner and outer experiences, the conscious awareness of those infinite possibilities. Open at the top to something. Just because something's always been one way doesn't mean it needs to be that way in the future. We can make a choice for life to be healed and loving and peaceful and joyous and free for us and for our families and for our spiritual community and for everyone in the whole planet. Right? We see our choices and those causes and actions, that they're just effects as manifestations of our choices. So as we align ourselves with this inner truth, the outer shifts to match this inner truth. So there is that faith that God is there in the midst of all there is. We can look through all of this chaos going on and we can see God underneath, patiently waiting, coming forward wherever it's open, wherever it finds an opening. It's like the lava coming up through a volcano. It will find the places where it comes to the surface. Eventually it comes, and it is coming. And as we choose to focus on love, on wholeness, on peace, on joy, we are part of creating that path, of creating that heaven on earth. And so we together envision a world that works for everyone as we work together cooperatively. We treat and move our feet. Our fear is replaced by faith. And when we go to vote, we vote for a future that we choose to experience. We don't choose out of fear, but we choose out of faith in the divine that is our life and the life of this planet. And its time has come. Our moment of choice is now, and we are making a choice for the divine and for love and peace. And so we take that time daily to be still in that state of effortless mindfulness. This is where it all begins. Our fear is replaced by faith. Our vision becomes clear. Our knowing becomes unshakable. This is how we heal our hearts, our minds, and our planet. Let's take this in prayer. And so we begin with the breathing, allowing all the chaotic thoughts to settle. We follow with that breathing, that path to the center of our being. Breathing in and out. A familiar path. And we find ourselves in that core of our being, that place in our hearts where we discover the divine, the power and presence of the divine. A place that feels like home. But perhaps at this moment there is a tightness, some fear, an anxiety about the future. And so we ask the divine, what is your message for me? What is your message? And the divine says, the beloved says, I am here, always. Here resides love, Here resides peace and understanding. Let go. Trust in the beloved. Let go. Release all fear. That is your choice, yours to do. Release all anxiety. Allow your mind and your heart to come into alignment, to operate in harmony as one being, as one with the divine. As you look out into the world, see that it is constantly changing. The way the world is no longer the way it was 10 years ago, 10 days ago, even 10 minutes ago. It is always changing, evolving. We are always in the now. The future of the world in 10 minutes, in 10 days, in 10 years, it depends on our choices in this moment, right here and right now. And so choose from wholeness, from knowing that you are one with God and with all there is. Choose love, for love is the spiritual truth of all existence. Feel divine love flowing throughout your being, healing, touching every nook and cranny, every part, until it feels radiant, loved and loving. And that love fills you to overflowing and flows out into the world. And feel that love surrounding the planet and all people and creatures. Feel love healing our planet, soothing aching hearts, soothing the air, the temperature, cools it, soothing it, the actions that shift, reverses that pattern of climate change. Feel your consciousness shifting, expanding, to know that we are one, to know that love is all there is. All else is dissolved and fades into the nothingness from which it came. Know that all sense of separation is just vanishing. We are one people, one divine life expressing itself in harmony and in peace and in love. See the fires and the natural balance of our planet being restored. The fires cooling now, the smoke dissolving, settling, and is gone. See people around the world becoming aware of that divine inner peace and love that connects us all. See them stopping, listening, shifting, and aligning their hearts and minds with this spiritual truth. We are in alignment together with our hearts and minds with the one. All else is forgotten. Divine love and peace rule our planet. We are free to be, to know God, to love, to know that we are one, and rejoice in this truth together. Joy fills my being. I am filled with gratitude beyond measure. So grateful to be a part of this spiritual community. Love and light radiate from my heart to share with all the world, and that love and light return to me, blessed and multiplied. All is well. And as I release these words, this knowing to the divine law. I am so grateful to be alive, to be a part of the one. And together we anchor this prayer by saying, and so it is. And so I think that Rod will close this thought out with some more music.
This is a song to listen with the heart. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only only love.
Beautiful, Rod.
Thank you, Rod. Yeah, I told you the music was perfect. I know he read my mind when he selected that song.
There was only one mind, right?
That's right. There's only one mind. So So as we move into this is our time for a prosperity affirmation. And so as we know that there is only love, we know that love is our source. And if you would take your gift or your thought of your gift and hold it over your heart and repeat with me. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. All I share with life returns to me, blessed and multiplied. And so we are grateful that you're continuing to share. This is an interesting kind of out of focus picture here this morning. But there's lots of ways to share with checks or debit cards or going online through PayPal. And we appreciate everyone that continues to support our center because we are here to be a spiritual center that embraces all while awakening to one, and for our purpose is love, and to have this transformational shift of the world. And so we have our song with Karen Drucker. There we go. Oh, that's much better, Rick.
I apologize, unable to play that song this morning. I'll be sure to get that fixed for next week.
Okay. Well, Rick's posting this morning from San Rafael, where he's staying with his in-laws and giving them a little respite from, even though they can't go out in the smoke, but at least they get to see something other than their four walls, having Rick and Marie there. So really love, and that's a very loving thing for them to be there with them today. So we have, but as we take our blessings, we are so grateful for these blessings, for this offerings that are shared with our center of treasure, time, and talent that are shared so generously. And we know that we are stewards to put them into use in our work to transform the world and giving back and knowing that all is well. It is all God. It is all inspired by love, and it is good. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. And so it is. All right. So I want to welcome you all we have in our, as you all know, our building is still closed, but we have lots of things going on. And we invite you to have your family join us or friends, wherever they may be. If they can't go, it's not a day you can go out and spend some great time around the lake, even though it's warm. A little bit too much smoke there today, but we're always here, and you can also watch us. You don't get to see us live. You also have the option to watch the replay when it's uploaded sometime today or tomorrow onto Facebook or the website or YouTube channel, or I think Instagram. Is that right, Rick? You can see it on Instagram. Yeah. So you have 4 options. And the next Sunday, September 20th, is our on our Sunday celebration, 10 a.m. We are continuing our series on facing the fear, and the topic is: do you have faith, or are you had by faith? So a little twist on words there. Our musician will be Reverend Angelica Schaefer, who is a friend of Colleen Akiko. So thank you, Colleen. I've listened to her website, and she's got some beautiful music that she'll be sharing with us. And our practitioner next week is Nancy O'Neill. Now, last Friday, September 11th, was our spiritual leader, Reverend Dr. Edward Billion. He had a short interview with Deepak Chopra on the Science of Mind Facebook page. And so you can find that link in our constant contact. And it was really just a promo about his workshop that's occurring on October 5th. It's sponsored by the CSL, so you'll get to see all of your friends there in the Zoom. And the $40 registration fee includes a copy of his new book, which is called Meditation. So, be an interesting time. Now, I'm hoping you can bring some of the slides up here, Rick, because the next one is about Rick's class on spiritual principles and practices. And would you like to talk about that class, Rick?
Certainly. I'll get the slide up in just a second. The class is called Spiritual Principles and Practices, and we spend 5 Tuesday evenings to addressing the ideas of how do we express spirituality in our lives through the principles of the science of mind, as well as the practices associated with each one. It's a 90-minute session each of the 5 weeks, and we will have opportunities to not only listen from the science of mind, but be able to discuss what this means to us in our lives. It is an official CSL sponsored course, and so we acknowledge that this is one of the foundational courses that serves as a prerequisite for more advanced courses later on. So I encourage you to sign up for this. Please send a note either to the admin at tahoecsl.org or to myself, or call and leave a message. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Reverend Pam?
There we go. Okay, so the next event is the movie, The Science of Earnest Mind. This is a movie that was Sue Ruda, practitioner, produced. And we're going to have a workshop on Saturday, October 24th. So not only will you get to see the movie, but we will have a panel of Reverend J. Scott Neal, who is the Ernest Holmes impersonator in the movie. He's done this quite a few times, actually. And Dr. Lloyd Tupper will be there to introduce the movie and talk about all of these ideas. Dr. Marilyn Leo is one of the people interviewed in the movie. Her dad worked for Ernest Holmes, and so he was Uncle Ernie to her. So it's going to be a wonderful day, and then they're going to be joining us on Sunday as our guest speakers. So that's something exciting to look forward to. It'll be a fundraiser for our center, so invite all of your friends to come. It'll be good for us. Next we have our Wednesday night service. And Rick, what are we going to be talking about on Wednesday?
Yeah, this coming Wednesday, please ignore the title there. This is about the Buddhist wisdom regarding fear. We know that Buddha had many great thoughts regarding fear as being an object of our own creation. And so we'll spend some time looking at the wisdom from the Buddhist tradition as we deal with fears and how we might be able to minimize or eliminate our fears. It's Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
And so another thing we'd like to invite you to is the morning meditation led by the practitioners on Monday and Tuesday mornings. They also have meditation on Sunday mornings before our service. But this is a time, we talked today about the effortless mindfulness. And so this is a time when we join together, and it's about starting your week off, your day off, but it's also part of how we together are transforming the world and putting our time and energy where our hopes and dreams are and making a difference in the world. So come be a part of this spiritual transformation. We also have things going on every day of the week. So we've already talked about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is the wonderful meditation led by Mary McEnany and Penny Scholler that you're free to join, and you can get the information from that on Constant Contact. This Friday is the third Friday, so Sue Pipel's class will be Letting Go by David Hawkins, his book on that one, and that's a drop-in class, so it helps to have a book, but you can just drop in and participate. And then on Saturday, Miracles is led by Ned Diantios, and this class goes at a very slow pace, but it really goes into the understanding of Course in Miracles because it is such a rich text. There is so much to learn, and it's so transformational. So this is like if you haven't gone through the Course in Miracles before, and even if you've been through it before, you will learn something new. So that's also a drop-in class. All right, and then on this coming Saturday, it is time again for Adopt a Highway. So we'll be meeting at the Kingswood Village condominiums, and so please bring your water, gloves, hat, and a mask. Join us. We'll provide the vests, plastic bags, and the grabber tools, and clean up the highway. That we have that sign up there that advertises that our center does this. So but it's part of our sacred service. So, all right. And then I would like to invite you to call one of our practitioners if you need prayer. And so if they would raise their hands, we have Nancy O'Neill is here, and Rick Carney, Reverend Rick Carney is also a practitioner. Carol Dalban is online with us today, and then I'm also a practitioner. So if you need prayer, prayer works, and I've been seeing some wonderful things happening this week. So we know that it works. So please avail yourself of this part of our center. All right. And after we go through our closing song, if we're able to, we can sing an a cappella, I guess, if we can't get the music up. But right after the song, we're going to have our closing affirmation, and then we'll open up, unmute everyone so we can chat together, and and have our community. Okay.
Well, once again, Murphy's Law has taken a course here.
All right.
So apologies.
Okay, so we will. So let's just go back to the gallery view. I think, Rick. Or actually, no, we could just. Yeah, You know what? Let's just do this. You can speak it or say it or whatever. So, you are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. And that's the truth.
Thank you, everyone. And now we're ready for the affirmation. All right. So if you would all repeat with me, I live in oneness and release all fear and sense of separation. As I spend time in effortless mindfulness, my consciousness opens at the top to new possibilities of love and wholeness. And so it is. All right. Thank you all. All right. So let's